Hi there, everybody. Hope everybody's doing as well as you can at this moment. I know it's been a long week for everybody, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But I was thinking about how I wanted to approach today, and I thought I want to try and do, in a sense, I guess you could call it a tiny little visualization, a visualization. Um, so what I want you to do, or what I would suggest you do, you don't have to, obviously, is to, well, let me give you the quote first. Let's get the quote over the way first. Obstacles are those frightful things that you see when you take your eyes off the goal. This came from no less Henry Ford. As I understand it, he was one of a lot of people who had their vision and they wanted to do something, and people said, "Oh, you can't do that." The horseless carriage and all that sort of stuff, but nobody's ever going to replace the horse, and he managed to succeed in doing that. So, again, let me do this. Obstacles are those frightful things when you take your eyes off your goal. Okay? Now, think about that for a couple of seconds. But what I want you to do, what I was thinking about starting out with, is take a minute right now, take a deep breath, and then think about yourself at some point in the future. How far in the future depends on where you want to be. But you've just finished something. Let's say you're graduating and you're at your graduation ceremony, or maybe it's you've just celebrated your first year at a brand new job that you love and you're so grateful for it. Or you're married or whatever it is, that you're someplace and you've succeeded at whatever it is that you wanted to be or wanted to accomplish. Okay, now think in terms of you at that point, your future self. How would that future self look at what you have to do or what you have to decide today? Would that future self be telling you to do something or not do something? Now, some of you are going to say, well, this is silly. How can I do this? It's not quite so silly. How many times have you done something or had something happen and something in the back of your head says, oh, gee, I knew that wasn't going to work out? And maybe sometimes it says, this worked out better than I thought it would, or some such thing like that. So you've got a sense of how because you know who you are, would react under a given set of circumstances, right? If you're going to, let's say graduation, if you're going to be at your graduation in, say, a year, could be 6 months, that's immaterial. As I said, you pick your own spot. But if you've got that idea of how you're graduated, then think in terms of there you are, your cap and gown, you've gone to the ceremony, everybody's real happy about you. What would you tell you about today? So let's say you've got a homework assignment to do and you don't want to do it. What would your future graduation self tell you how to do or what to do? So think about it from your goals and objectives and those obstacles, because you are going to see obstacles. You all know you're going to see obstacles. And sometimes your best advice is going to come from you because I start to say you know what you know, which sort of may not make sense, but you have an idea of what's going to work for you and what's not going to work for you. In many cases, I've learned that when we have hard decisions to make, the hard part is that we know what we need to do. We just have to convince ourselves to do it. Because you know what the right choice is going to be. And going with the idea of the homework assignment, you usually know that it's going to be better to do the homework assignment or address those issues than it is to necessarily go to a party or knock it off or forget the homework assignment for another night or some such thing like that, or procrastinate, not work on it. You know what you need to do. And in many cases, when you make those decisions, like, do you really need that extra cookie? You know what your choice is, and you go ahead and do it anyway. So it's not so strange to think in terms of having your future self talk to you about helping you make decisions, what you need to do today. Does that make sense? So when you have some of those choices, if they're pertaining to your particular goals, I suggest you think in terms of where your future self is and how your future self would advise you on your behaviors and your choices today. Does, does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Now, regarding this week, I realize that a lot of you are upset, to put it mildly, and I suspect that many of you looking at this are. Um, I also believe that it's going to make a big difference in education in the next several years. I suspect that education is going to be much harder for women much harder for people in general, but much harder for women in specific. I want to do what I can to help any of you get that degree or get that education that you want. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, but if you think there's any way I can help you, even if it means having a conversation about some things to help you feel like you're learning something that you can't get anyplace else. And I know that seems vague and it's even vague to me, but I just want you to know that I really am bound and determined to help people get the education that they seek, even if they may not be able to have anything else that they can look forward to. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Also, to think in terms of to make a slight shift onto you, I know that you've got a lot of choices and decisions that you're making now. Where do you want to be in another year or 2 years or 6 months? And how do you want to make those decisions to get to that specific point? So in many cases, you may be responding out of despondency or maybe even elation, perhaps could be, and what you're looking for. And think in terms of the decisions you make today. Are they going to take you to where you want to be? Are they going to take you to the you want to be? And you're the only one who can figure that one out. So that I wanted you to think about whatever it is that you're deciding today, tomorrow, or next week. And are those decisions going to help you put you where you want to be in the future? You've got goals, you've got places you want to be and things you want to accomplish. Are the decisions you're making now going to help you get there? You're the only one who can answer that question. So I just wanted to toss that out for you to think about. It may or may not make a difference in what you decide to do now, but I thought at least for you to consider that possibility and have a conversation with your future self, because that may be the only person that you could talk to right now. You could talk to me, but it's going to be a little awkward unless you email me and we chat back and forth. But hopefully this was helpful. I know this is going to be short, but I thought it might be worth you thinking about because I dare say that many of you are just not sort of into a long, drawn out conversation for me right now. So we'll chat later and hopefully this helped and we will see you later. Bye.